Welcome to our channel, where we explore meaningful topics that inspire inner growth, emotional healing, and personal empowerment. Today's video is a heartfelt invitation to release the weight you were never meant to carry and to reclaim your peace, confidence, and authenticity by letting go of what no longer serves you. So whether you're in your 20s just beginning to discover yourself or in your 60s navigating the complexities of reinvention, you are not too old, not too late, and certainly not alone on this journey, because growth is lifelong and healing happens in layers. As we dive into the 8 powerful things it's finally time to let go of, I encourage you to reflect, to breathe, and most importantly, to be gentle with yourself, because the truth is, many of us have been holding on, sometimes consciously, sometimes unknowingly, to patterns, beliefs, and identities that once protected us but now only limit us. The first thing it's time to release is people-pleasing, that exhausting habit of saying yes when you mean no, of reshaping yourself to avoid conflict, of chasing validation through approval. This urge often comes from childhood, when our self-worth became linked to how much we could accommodate others. But the truth is, constantly contorting yourself to meet others' needs only creates resentment and burnout. Real connection begins when you show up as your full, honest self, unapologetically. It's okay to disappoint others if it means being true to you, and those meant for you will respect your boundaries, not punish you for having them. Next, it's time to let go of perfectionism, the illusion that you have to get everything right, be everything to everyone, look flawless, never fail, and always be in control. Perfectionism is not the same as striving for excellence. It is fear dressed up as discipline, and it keeps you paralyzed in procrastination or locked in cycles of self-criticism. Life is messy, and progress is rarely linear. Every stumble, every rough draft, every awkward first try is part of becoming. Embrace the imperfect, because perfection is not relatable, it's not real, and it's not required for worthiness. Then, there's the habit of negative self-talk, that inner voice that tells you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not capable enough. This voice is often internalized from external critics, but just because someone planted those words in you doesn't mean you have to keep watering them. You can choose a new narrative. You can speak to yourself with compassion, like you would to a dear friend, because self-kindness isn't indulgent, it's essential. And when you change the way you speak to yourself, you change what you believe about yourself. Another thing to let go of is the need for constant productivity. This belief that your value is tied to how busy you are or how much you accomplish, that rest must be earned, that slowing down is laziness. This mindset is a product of a culture that prioritizes output over well-being, but you are not a machine, and your worth is not measured in tasks completed. Rest is not a reward, it is a right. Stillness is not weakness, it is a form of wisdom. Your being matters just as much as your doing, and your value is inherent, not something you have to hustle to prove. Let's also talk about comparison, that silent thief of joy that whispers you should be further along, look different, achieve more, have what someone else has. But comparison blinds you to your own journey, to your own growth, to the beauty of your becoming. Life is not a race or a ladder, it's a garden, and every flower blooms in its own time. You don't have to match someone else's timeline to be on the right path. You are not behind. You are on your own sacred schedule. Let go of timelines that were never yours and trust the unfolding of your own process. Another heavy weight to set down is guilt, especially the kind that lingers long after you've apologized, the kind that keeps you trapped in a loop of self-punishment, the kind that convinces you that making mistakes makes you unlovable. Guilt has a purpose when it points us toward accountability, but chronic guilt only keeps us small. Forgive yourself. Learn the lesson. Carry the wisdom, not the shame. You are allowed to outgrow old versions of yourself. You are allowed to evolve. It's also time to release the fear of being seen, the fear of expressing your truth, showing your talents, standing out, taking up space. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned that it's safer to stay small, to blend in, to keep our brilliance hidden, but the world needs your light. Hiding doesn't protect you, it suffocates your spirit. Vulnerability may feel risky, but it is the birthplace of connection, creativity, and courage. Let people see the real you, even if it's messy, even if it's different, even if it's still becoming. Finally, it's time to let go of the belief that healing is a destination, that you'll only be worthy or happy once you've fixed everything, resolved every issue, or reached some ideal version of yourself. Healing is not about arriving, it's about returning, again and again, to the present moment, to self-acceptance, to inner peace. It's about learning to hold space for both the light and the shadow, the joy and the grief, the clarity and the confusion. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to start living. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still be whole, still be deserving, still be enough. So if you've been carrying these burdens for too long, people-pleasing, perfectionism, self-doubt, overworking, comparison, guilt, fear, and the pressure to be healed, this is your permission to set them down. You are not meant to carry what dims your light. You are allowed to choose peace over pressure, compassion over criticism, authenticity over approval. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're walking it together, step by gentle step. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who might need the reminder. Subscribe for more soul-nourishing conversations, and keep showing up for yourself in small, brave ways, because letting go is not giving up, it's choosing freedom. And freedom is where your truest self begins to thrive. And as we continue on this journey of release and renewal, let's gently explore what it really means to live with authenticity, the quiet power that comes from honoring your truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's misunderstood, even when it makes others uncomfortable, because living authentically doesn't mean being perfect or always knowing the right thing to do. It means listening inward more than outward. It means aligning your actions with your values, your words with your integrity, and your choices with your peace. And yet, so many of us have learned to perform instead of live, to fit in instead of belong, to be liked instead of loved. And while it might feel safer in the short term, the cost of that disconnection is too high. Inauthenticity might keep you accepted, but it will never make you feel whole. So today, we let go of the mask, the act, the need to constantly explain ourselves to people who may never understand us, because you don't owe everyone access to your story, and you certainly don't need permission to be yourself. Authenticity isn't about being loud or dramatic or constantly vulnerable. It's about being real, being rooted in who you are, even if that version of you is still learning, still soft, still growing, and especially if that version of you doesn't look like what the world expects. We also need to talk about letting go of control, not responsibility, not care, but the illusion that we can micromanage every outcome, anticipate every twist, protect ourselves from every loss if only we try hard enough. Plan better, worry more. But control is a false shelter. It doesn't actually keep the chaos out. It just exhausts you trying. Life is unpredictable. People will surprise you. Plans will shift. And the peace you crave will never come from having a tighter grip. It comes from surrendering, not in weakness, but in trust, in understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do is to show up fully and then release the need to control what happens next. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means giving space for grace, for serendipity, for outcomes you couldn't have imagined but deeply needed. It means trading anxiety for faith, rigidity for flow, and fear for freedom. And when you make this shift, you'll notice that so much of the pressure you felt wasn't from life itself, but from your resistance to life's natural rhythm. Another quiet, but deeply transformative release is letting go of the need to be understood by everyone. We've all been there, explaining ourselves in circles, hoping someone will see us clearly, hoping our intentions will be recognized, our choices validated. But sometimes, no matter how carefully you speak or how deeply you explain, others will only hear you through the filter of their own fear, judgment, or unhealed wounds, and that's not your responsibility. Your peace cannot be dependent on someone else's comprehension. Some people will not understand your boundaries, your healing, your softness, your power, and that's okay. Let them misunderstand you. Let them have their own journey. You are not here to be universally accepted. You are here to be fully yourself. The need to be understood often keeps us in places that stifle us, relationships that diminish us, conversations that drain us. So free yourself from that need. Speak your truth kindly, but don't beg to be seen. Those meant to truly witness, you will do so without force. It's also time to release old narratives. The stories you've been told or told yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. Maybe you've internalized the belief that you're too sensitive, too much, not enough, not lovable, not smart, not worthy of joy, that you always mess things up, that you'll never change, that your past defines your future. But none of that is who you are. It's who you've been told to be, often as a way to survive environments that couldn't honor your truth. Those stories might have protected you once, but they no longer serve your evolution. You get to write a new narrative now, one rooted in self-respect, curiosity, courage, and care. You get to believe in your own capacity for transformation. Every day you wake up, you have the power to take a different path, to speak more gently to yourself, to show up with a little more hope. And that is how healing happens, not in grand gestures, but in the small, consistent moments of choosing yourself over and over again. And perhaps one of the hardest things to let go of is the version of you that survived, because for many of us, the person we had to become in order to get through life's challenges is not the person we truly are, but someone we created out of necessity. Maybe you became hyper-independent because no one was there for you, or overly accommodating because it was safer to avoid conflict, or always strong because vulnerability wasn't safe. But now, you're allowed to lay down the armor. You don't have to live in survival mode forever. That version of you deserves gratitude, not shame, but you are not bound to remain them. You get to evolve into softness, into trust, into slowness, into the person you were before the world taught you to guard yourself so tightly. Releasing your survival self is not abandoning your past. It's honoring your resilience by letting yourself finally rest. This process of letting go is not linear, and it's not about erasing everything or pretending nothing happened. It's about unlearning what hurts, loosening your grip on the stories that no longer align, and gently returning to your center. And as you release, you create space for joy, for alignment, for rest, for relationships that feel like ease, for creativity, for clarity, for inner stillness. Because in a world that constantly tells you to do more, be more, prove more, letting go is a radical act of liberation. It says, I am enough as I am. I trust the unfolding. I choose presence over pressure. I choose depth over performance. I choose to be who I really am, not who the world expects me to be. And let's not forget that every time you let go of something heavy, you make it easier for someone else to do the same. Your healing is not selfish. It's sacred. It ripples outward. When you model self-respect, you give others permission to respect themselves. When you stop apologizing for your existence, you show others that they, too, can take up space. When you rest, others remember that they're allowed to rest. So never underestimate the quiet power of your healing journey. It is activism. It is courage. It is love in its most enduring form. If you're still with us, thank you for showing up for yourself, for being curious, for being open. You are not alone in any of this. We are a community of people trying our best to live more consciously, to feel more deeply, to let go more freely, and to love more fully. If today's message touched your heart, consider sharing it with someone who needs the same reminder. Subscribe to stay connected to this growing space of inner work and soulful transformation. Your story matters. Your healing matters. And the more you let go of what you were never meant to carry, the more clearly you'll hear your own truth calling you forward. Until next time, take care of your heart and know that it's never too late to begin again.